All right, this week we are going to talk about graphing ordered pairs on a coordinate plane or a coordinate grid. So this is what you already glued into your notebook, okay? It talks about the x-axis and it talks about the y-axis, okay? And it's important to remember that x always comes first, okay? So if you look here, if I went over 2 and up 4, my ordered pair would be 2, 4. All right, so that's important to know. So we're going to do a little practice where we're going to make our own coordinate planes or coordinate grids and plot our own points. Okay, so let's just do a couple for practice. So went ahead and I drew that. This right here, this is called the origin. And at this point, the x is equal to 0 and the y is equal to 0. Remember, this is my x-axis and this is my y. Okay? So I'm just going to go in intervals of 1, which means I'm going to count by 1. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? Okay, you can see I'm kind of making my own grid and my own graph. Now, it's not perfect, but it'll do. Something to remember when you're making your own. It is so important that you put the numbers directly below the line. I would never want to put a 1 there or a 2 there because that would get really confusing. So if you notice, my numbers are directly below and across from my lines. That is so important when you make your own coordinate plane. Okay, let's say that I wanted to plot the point 5, 3. Okay. Remember what I told you in an ordered pair. In an ordered pair, the x is always first. It's always x, y. Okay? And I know that I have to find the x first, which is the 5. If this is my x-axis, I need to count over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I know I'm there. My y, which is up and down, is 3. So I have to go up 3. 1, 2, 3. That right there shows the ordered pair of 5, 3. The x is equal to 5. The y is equal to 3. Remember, you always find your x first. Okay, let's try 3, 2. Okay, remember, this is x, this is y. So I go over 3 to my x, and I go up 2 for my y, and that shows the ordered pair 3, 2. All right, so as long as you remember that x comes first, you should be in pretty good shape. All right. You also may see a problem that says something like, what is the distance between 2, 6 and 2, 9? So basically what they're saying is you have an ordered pair, you have a dot on your graph that's at 2, 6, and you have one that's at 2, 9. They want to know the distance between, okay? You actually don't need to plot those points. The 2's are the same, so all I need to do is take the difference of the y values, the 6 and the 9. So I would really have 9 minus 6, which is 3. So the distance between 2, 6 and 2, 9 is actually 3. Okay? You may see one like this. what is the distance between 3, 7 and 1, 7? Well, just like we talked about up here, the x values were the same, so I left them alone. The y values are the same here. They're both 7. So I need to look at the x's because that's what's different. 3 and 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. So the distance between those two ordered pairs is 2. Okay, so you're going to see something like that, so just kind of remember how to do that. Okay, I want to take a look at this question that's going to be on your test. Okay, so we really understand it. And you will see this question again. It says, what is an ordered pair that you would see on the x-axis line? Write to explain your thinking. So this is talking about an ordered pair, a dot, that you would see land on the x-axis. So that means it didn't go up any. It just stayed down here. Well, if I want to know an ordered pair that would land on the x-axis, my y would have to be equal to 0. Let me show you what I mean. I want an ordered pair that lands on the x-axis. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now, this is my x, this is my y. And if you remember, my question said, what is an ordered pair that you would see on the x-axis line? Write to explain your thinking. That is saying that I want an ordered pair, not that falls here. What would that ordered pair be? That ordered pair would be 2, 1, right? Over 2, up 1. I want to find an ordered pair that falls right here on this x-axis. Well, if I want it to fall on this x-axis, that means that my y is going to have to equal 0. Because in order for me to get it on this line and not move up, I've got to have my y equal 0. So let's try 3, 0 and see what happens. I count over 3. And my y is 0. So can I move up? No, I can't. Does this ordered pair fall exactly on my x-axis? It does. So in order to have an ordered pair fall on my x-axis line, the y needs to be 0. Now, let's say I want an ordered pair this time that falls on my y-axis line. My y-axis line. If I want it to fall on my y, my x this time is going to have to be 0. Okay? So if I start here at the origin, and my x is 0, can I move over at all? No, I can't. I'm stuck there. I can't move. And if I go up 2, because my y is up, does that fall on the y-axis line? Yes, it does. So the big takeaway here is, if you want your ordered pair to fall on the x-axis line, the y has to be 0. But if you want your ordered pair to fall on the y-axis line, the x needs to be 0. So keep that in mind, because you are going to see that question come up again. All right, one more that I want to go over right here. It says, construct a coordinate grid below and label each axis. Construct the coordinate grid using intervals of 2. Okay, so an interval is how you count. So intervals of 2 is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Intervals of 3 would be like 3, 6, 9, 12. Intervals of 1, which is what we've been working on, 1, 2, 3, 4. But this one says it wants intervals of 2, but it wants you to stop at 12. So it would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That's all it wants you to do. And it says to label the X and the Y. So I need to create a coordinate grid below using intervals of 2, stopping at 12. Okay, this is my X, this is my Y. I know that that's the origin. Intervals of 2. So I'm not going 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Because remember, it said intervals of 2 stopping at 12 for both the X and the Y. Now I'm going to do the same thing. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. All right, so I jumped in intervals of 2 and I stopped at 12. So on your test, you're going to see that as well, where they talk about you wanting to jump in certain intervals. So big takeaways here. Remember that it is always X, then Y. So you have to move over first and then up. Also a big takeaway. If you want your ordered pair to land on the x-axis, what must the y equal? That's right, it needs to equal 0, so it can't go up at all. But if you want it to land on the y, what does the x have to equal? The x has to equal 0, so you can't move over. And then you can move up whatever it is on the y. All right, continue practicing at home.